looking to grow revenues, increase profitability, or obtain financing? If so, you came to the right place.
Running a business is all about leadership. How do you become a better leader? Learn from the successful entrepreneurs and business owners how to lead your organization more effectively. That's why we created Leadership Live at 805, Talking Small Business, to help you succeed with your host, Andrew Frazier, Business Growth Pro and CFO and founder of the Small Business Pro University. Every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're joined by experienced entrepreneurs and business owners who share their secrets to success via live stream. Also, every Friday morning, we release a new podcast episode. Either way, you will learn about developing your business leadership skills from our roster of highly performing guest experts. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbprou.com.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Leadership Live at 805 Talking Small Business. This is Andrew Frazier, your host. Excited to be here once again with you Tuesday evening. Hey, Precious, thanks for joining in. I can't wait either. This is going to be a great show, and I'm excited to have our guest on here today. So, hopefully everybody's doing well. And, at the end of the day, we want to focus on really sharing valuable insights for you as a business owner or entrepreneur to be more successful in what you do. So one of the things that, I talk about all the time is your most important job as a business owner. And really what that is, which is sales and marketing. And because it's your most important job, it's something that you need to focus on. And, many business owners, one, may not realize that. Two, may not have really gone into business to market and sell, really focus on doing their expertise. But, as a business owner, your number one job is to market and sell. So given that it's so important, it's also critical to become good at it. So we're doing a lot of sessions where we're going to focus on how to be better and more successful in marketing and selling. And that's one of the things where, tonight, excited to really focus on that, because a very important part of it is storytelling and connecting with people and networking. So, many times people aren't comfortable, but hopefully this will help you get a little bit more comfortable and learn how to tell stories and communicate more effectively. So, our guest this evening is Dion Flynn, and really looking forward to having him really look at, share some valuable insights into what he's doing. And so let me see if I can share a quick intro video, and then we'll get started. So here we go.
Dion Flynn is not famous, but he hopes you think he is. His face looks familiar, as if Barack Obama had a baby with the Grinch. He's been on late-night television more than 100 times, and yet his eyebrows still need a landscaper. His years as a soldier taught him that he'd rather earn his money squirting whipped cream down his pants. Dion once gave a TED Talk, but not a real TED Talk, just one of those TEDx talks that doesn't matter as much, and it wasn't even that good. So why is Dion Flynn here? Because for 20 years, Dion Flynn has taught people everywhere how to connect better with each other, to laugh at themselves, and to play the way we were meant to play.
Bring out a real trainer and a fake trainer and see if it's possible to tell the difference between the two. Come on out, guys. What's a good breakfast to have to start off the day?
I like to start a day with carbs and lean protein. That gives me energy throughout the day.
I usually just wake up at an IHOP and say, surprise me.
You know what I like to do is I like to take bugles and I like to put them on my fingertips with peanut butter. And I pretend sometimes that I'm a witch.
Stranger, pick me up in a beat-up pickup truck. Why are you talking? Why are you talking?
Science is... Oh, where did you come from?
Oh, my gosh. I'm General Don Roger. I come from the year 2127. What do you think?
And about you, what about your hair?
Yeah.
How we gonna do your hair?
I'm going to sacrifice myself to the vortex, God. I'm going to... Oh, here's a manhole I could go down.
You still there?
Yeah. Manhole wasn't that deep.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
I'm getting my mouth full of plastic snow.
No, it's real snow. Tim, that is real. Tim, that is real snow. It is freezing. You're in Chicago. It's freezing. It's real snow.
Okay, welcome back. So as you can tell from the video, as hopefully you can tell from the video, we're going to have some fun this evening. So very excited about having Dion on the show this evening. So let me invite him to come on and join me, and we'll get started talking about storytelling for networking. Hey, Dion, how you doing this evening?
How you doing? Great to see you, Andrew. Great to be here.
Thanks, Dion, and great to have you. Looking forward to, we always try and make it a little bit relaxed because we're here in the evening, but
yeah.
I think tonight's going to be even more relaxed than usual.
Well, really, what makes you say that? Is it the soft jackets you and I have both worn? What's telling you it's going to be more relaxed than normal?
Well, I think we're just going to have a lot of fun and look forward to, it being a little bit wilder and crazier than our normal shows. But thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me tonight. And really looking forward to chatting with you about some valuable content and topics for entrepreneurs and business owners who are listening in.
Well, it's an honor to be here. I'm very happy to be here. I've been looking forward to this today, and I've got my little Post-it notes up here on the wall, so that I, know what to say. I think I'm going to go spontaneously with what you just said, which is we're going to get looser. And, people, when they work with me, they think of comedy and they think, oh, well, this is going to be funny, or we should be funny or something. And yet, like with comedians who are sometimes very depressive, you'll find some of the funniest people are some of the most serious and most depressive people. I may let you down tonight. That's the point. That's what I'm going to say. I might be quite morose and depressive during this interview.
All right. Well, we'll see how it goes. I have faith in you. So, but before we get started, the video was a great intro. But it would be great if you could give a little bit more color about sort of where, you came, what you're doing now, and a few key things that you learned along the journey that would be helpful for other entrepreneurs and business owners to know about.
Yeah. If I had to sum it up in, let's say I had 10 seconds, I'd say that There's no wasted effort on the path. That would be it. And then if I had a little bit longer, I would say, I mean that a lot of the bad things you go through, a lot of the struggles as an entrepreneur, a lot of the terrible experiences you had growing up or in your teens or whatever, all of that stuff can be turned into gold. You can make good use of it. And if you're blessed enough to live through difficult experiences and grow from them and acquire the wisdom that comes with, getting through hard times. I have a son, right? He doesn't understand he's going to live if he doesn't play a video game instead of do his homework. He doesn't understand if we say no to dessert. He has no idea that he's going to live, but he's learning. And so difficulties that happen, if you can gather them up and share them with other people, and, hence our theme for this evening, storytelling and networking. If you can share not just the victory stories, not just the stories of tell us about the 10 wins you had at your last job. Well, okay, I can tell you about that, but I can also tell you that, like, I wake up with doubts and I have to do certain things to get on track with myself to be able to take action on any given day. I find that when I share the vulnerable truths about my story, about my past, about my life, I feel closer with people, and my experience has been people feel closer with me. I grew up. I grew up in a trailer park down in Maryland. I live just outside of New York City now in Montclair, New Jersey, and I grew up down in Maryland, and I was the only brown kid in the trailer park. And I was my birth mother, my unknown father, and my adoptive father, who was white as well. So I experienced a lot of very interesting experiences, difficult ones, when I was growing up. I didn't want those experiences. I didn't want that to be my setting. Those challenges were enormous. Um, but I didn't die from them. And some people do. Some people do die from childhood challenges. I thought this was the comedian. Why is he talking about dying from childhood challenges? Because if you don't, one of the ways you don't is by learning how to turn base metal into gold, turning bad things that happen into something good, not by denying them, by facing them full on, learning how to integrate them in the larger narrative of your life. You're a miracle. Everybody who's here right now is a miracle. Do you know how miraculous it is that you and I are sitting on this floating planet in the middle of space, and we made it down through all the years of, evolution and whatever you believe, we're here, we made it. Our ancestors, we came down from our ancestors. And whatever you believe to be true about the history of mankind on Earth, we're here. That's a miracle. That's an absolute miracle. And so my stupid little journey, against the backdrop of all of eternity and all of outer space, is just one of a kid who was trying to figure out how to fit in, wanted people to love him, stopped trusting people at an early age. I was like, I'm going to do all this myself. I'm going to get life sorted out by myself. Wanting very much to win people over. So that's where you get the talents that you see me doing, voices and, performing and trying to get people to look at me and like me. That's where I got the entertainment bug from. And those things were not built on they weren't built in the greatest way. They were built from some dysfunction. I felt very distant from everybody, even though I was up at one lighted end of the room. I like to call show business. I call it one lighted end of the room. If you're a speaker, if you're a teacher, if you're a business owner, if you're a boss, you're often at one lighted end of the room, And I was there for years, trapped, trying. I didn't know any other way. And the fallout from that, the good stuff that came out of, me trying to just paddle real fast and survive, were the skills that I have that are left over. Now, I got those skills trained too, by the way. I was lucky enough to go into a graduate acting program for, I went to school for years and years for performance and delivery and how to be in my body and connect with other people. I was in a play off Broadway, New York City, Hamlet, at the Public Theater, right? And the director of the theater, the director of the play, turned the lights on in the theater so that we on stage, Liev Schreiber, you might know him, the actor, he was playing Hamlet. I was one of the little nobodies in the play. And the director turned on the lights in the audience to confront the audience. He's going to do controversial theater. Turned up the lights and we could see everybody. Now, I don't know if you've ever been on stage or you generally with bright lights in your face, you can't always see everybody in the house. We could see everybody. It was weird. It was terrifying. It was terrifying for the audience, terrifying for us. An epiphany went off in my head. I realized I've got to stop doing this acting thing, at least the way I'm doing it, because when the lights came up, I could see that my parents were not in the audience. And in my mind's eye, my parents were always in every audience because I was always up there trying to get them to love me and see me. And okay. Now you may wonder, like, where's he going with this story? Okay. Once I saw what was driving everything about me towards show business and I knew that wasn't enough. Even if it's my parents, doing it all to get someone else to love me or feel a certain way about me was not authentic, and it was not coming from the source. And I had a panic moment, and I had a panic number of years because the bottom fell out at that moment. I was like, I've been pushing to do this. I've been to school for 7 years. What am I going to do if I'm not going to do that? I had to let everything fall apart. Katabasis, they call it in the Greek terminology. The bottom falls out. If you're on here and you've ever hit a bottom, if the bottom has ever fallen out and your life's taken a complete turn, you are a blessed person, in my opinion. Because that gives you an opportunity to say, what am I actually here for? I can't chase the other things under false steam with false supports for false bad reasons that have nothing to do with my spirit, my soul. So I had that opportunity, Andrew, to figure out what I was actually here for and what the universe or God or the higher power, whatever you want to call it, what it did for me at that point was it took the talents that I had, the ones that I've described for you, and it sort of rearranged them just a little bit. The great fear people have is that if I let go of that self-willed idea I had about how my life's supposed to turn out, what I'm supposed to do for a living, if I let that go, nothing else good is going to happen. So I better just keep driving forward. That might work for some people. For me, the bottom had to fall out, and I had to let God, life, universe, put my talents back in a slightly different, slightly more service-oriented way. And things have never been better. And I will walk there now that I see you again. Hello.
Hey, no, that's excellent. One of the things that, life is about learning and, lessons. And if you don't learn the lesson, you're doomed to repeat it. But one thing I heard and, people say is, usually your third business is the most successful. So you got to fail at the first sometimes or some people before you really get it. And that's okay because it's a journey. And you learn the most during those times about yourself and about others. So that's excellent. So definitely, excited about talking to you about storytelling, talking to you about a topic tonight. But before we get started with that, I just want to take a second. We do this through the Small Business Pro University, and just want to take a minute so everybody knows what the Small Business Pro University is, and then we'll be back talking small business with Dion. So let's see. Here we go. Do you own your business or does it own you? Is your business growing and are you making enough money? As a business owner, there are so many things you need to know to become more successful. Hello, my name is Andrew Frazier, the Business Growth Pro and CFO. I created the Small Business Pro University for you. Small Business Pro University has self-paced, dynamic, multimedia learning experiences created by more than 20 instructors who are business owners just like you. Small Business Pro University will empower you to become a masterpreneur by learning the secrets to creating a successful enterprise, to go from working in your business to working on your business. Take advantage of our strategic coaching program or just simply choose the courses that you need at www.sbprou.com. We will empower you to thrive and not just survive and make more money in any business environment. Welcome back to Leadership Live at 8:05. I'm here with Dion Flynn talking small business. And, topic is, storytelling for networking. Everybody says, facts tell, stories sell. So in business, stories are always seen as key, but many times people have difficulty putting together their story or understanding what a story really is. So before we get into that, how would you define a story for networking, and what's the history around developing stories?
Well, if you think about cavemen, right? The idea of cavemen. Again, people come from very different wisdom traditions, have a number of beliefs about, what our history is as people on Earth. Let's just look at the little vignette of the caveman. The idea is some of the people in the cave went out hunting, and some of the people, the old men, the women, the children, they stayed back. Okay. It's a very sexist, strange time. Okay. Um, and the guys who went out hunting, right? They brought food back and we cooked the food. We're back in the cave. We're all there. It's warm, it's the light, the firelight, and everybody's there. And then the meat is all eaten and everybody's just like patting their bellies, having a good time after. And then all of a sudden, what are we going to do? What are we going to do for the evening? Well, what was it like out there on the hunt? Oh, well, I'll tell you. I mean, there was a big brontosaurus, and well, you ate it. I mean, Well, how did you get it? Well, I'll tell you what. I just I threw a spear and I got him. No, but the details. Paint the picture. Really? You're interested in this? Yeah. Are you kidding? We're back here picking berries all day. We don't do nothing. Well, there I was. There I was in the bush, And so stories are about, I was someplace, you weren't there. We're both human. I want you to know about it. And I'll tell it to you. And if I tell it to you, it might be organizing some learning. Maybe you'll learn when you're ready to go out. If I'm talking to my son back at the cave, I tell him the order of operations and how I did the hunt. It can contain wisdom. It can contain learning, but it's a story. And so we can, we don't have a smartphone back then. So it was a great technology for ordering a sequence of events. Tucking wisdom and learning is a story, showing you something that happened when you weren't there, to put it from my mind into your mind using words and pictures. That's one history. That's one version.
Okay. So is that where the embellishment started? The fish was this big.
What a great question. Yeah. So that's like truth. Do I have to tell the truth when I tell my stories? Do my stories have to be 100% true? I think yes at first. And it never gets to the place where I think you should lie about what you've been through. But there is a place where you can become more artful about what you're telling, and I'll explain the difference. I used to coach people that were doing solo shows in New York City, and storytellers and writers, and I still do. Slightly different than it was years ago. And I was a stickler, Andrew, for the truth. I was like, did it happen that way? Somebody be telling a good story, a memoir type story where it's all facts from their life. And I would say that it exactly happened that way. And I'd try to help them remember details. And some people would say to me, well, that's how it felt to me. And I was like, but you can't do that. Come to find out, you can do that. You can talk about something in a way that, you know, when you experience your first party clown, you know, he may not have been 30 feet tall, but that's how it felt to you. And if you say to me a 30-foot horrible clown walked in, I'm going to remember that more. That's going to have more of an emotional impact on me. And so you're taking what we call artistic license, but you're not lying. You really are communicating the emotional truth. Now, think about any boring speaker or teacher you've ever heard. They know so much. They got a PowerPoint and it's got all the bullet points, it's got all the facts, but there is no emotional truth being conveyed. So you asked me what a story is. Here's what else it is. A story is also movement. In a good story, there's always movement. Somebody or something, generally somebody starts someplace, moves through something, is changed by it in one way or the other, and moves to another place. Any art that we're interested in that stands the test of time, from music, even to paintings, which are seemingly static, dance, whatever we like, it has movement. That's what catches our eyes. That's what catches our imagination. Movement. S-
Mhm.
Circumlocution, me sort of repeating, like just sort of statistics and whatever. I lose you. Of course I lose you. I should lose you.
Okay. Okay. So, I guess anybody who's been to church probably knows about stories from the preacher, and sometimes they call them preacher stories because they're not like 100% true, but they they get the point across that they want to get across, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It depends on the setting, but
Well, it's you make a really good point there, Andrew. It's also the way storytellers, memoirists, ministers, speakers often think of stories is this way. And I want to give this to business professionals who are viewing this right now or may view it in the future. We use illustrative tales. We use a story that I think should be from your life to illustrate something that's universal. Everybody here understands loss. Everybody here understands being afraid of something. And I want to make a point of those major themes of life: loss, greed, missed opportunity, regret, happiness, achievement. I want to bring one of those universal that gets everybody's heart beating, everybody understands it, love. And I want to use a story from my past to illustrate that. And in that way, the preacher, the teacher, the speaker, the storyteller for business will take that story and then repurpose that story for this particular theme, this particular use. Now, I think what you need to have first is your stories. So this is just basic for everybody. When you're walking down your hallway and it occurs to you, oh, there was that one time that I didn't get invited to a birthday party. And I felt really sad. I was crying. And you don't remember the whole story? Write it down. Get yourself, number one suggestion here tonight is write it down. And throw them in a little, doesn't matter, how many files we have nowadays, how many places we have to capture things. You can do a handheld recorder. You can do a 3x5 card. Just get the keywords down and start to put them in your signature story file. You'll know how to use them later. Get them down first. That's number one.
Okay, cool. So writing the keywords. So now, we're talking about storytelling for networking.
Yes.
How long should a story be?
Okay, so you got to look at your listener. If your listener nods off, if your listener goes like this is the first. That's one clue that you should probably wrap up the story soon. Yeah, nothing. Okay, I was looking for you to laugh, Andrew. You're great, Andrew, because you're very sort of methodical, mathematics minded, oriented. It's very hard to make you laugh. I've noticed.
Well, depends, but
Depends. It has to be funny, Dion.
yeah.
Um, how long should the story be? The story should be as short as it can possibly be to get the key elements across. Start as close to the action as possible. You know, if it's a story about, I don't know, if it's a story about the time that you were riding on a bicycle on one pedal on one side, standing up on the bicycle and riding it down a hill, and you realized you couldn't activate the brakes and you ran in the back of an 18-wheeler, true story. Don't start with the history of bicycles in America. You know, it all started with the Wright brothers, or whatever. You don't have to go back that far. Start close to the action. Um, my father was hitting a tennis ball against the wall, and I really needed his help. Boom. Start close to the action, get to the main turning point of the story, and then follow up with some change that happened or a lesson that you learned from that. Should have like maybe 3 moving parts. The beginning, what happened, and then the end, the wrap up.
Okay, cool. So now, one of the things, I talk about with business owners is, what do you have to do to get people to buy from you? And, there's 3 key things. They got to know you, they got to like you, and they got to trust you. So,
yep.
One of the things is those are the 3 things that you should always be trying to make happen. And a story is a great way to make that happen.
Yes.
Absolutely
is.
So how do you, in the story, what are some ways that you can, let's start with know first. What are some of the elements of a story, or what ways within a story can you help people to get to know you better?
I can let you know. I can let you know a difficult time that I went through, but I can also let you know how I felt about it. I can let you know that I was scared. The vulnerability of a story is key. I mean, we're done, Andrew. You know this. We're done with the era of the hero, the lone hero on the mountaintop with his cape blowing in the wind. I did this, and then I did that, and then I did that. Everybody went nuts for that, decades ago. Oh, somebody I can look up to, I can aspire to. But how did you struggle? Like, what do you mean you were afraid and you did it anyway? You had self-doubt and somehow you worked with that? Wow, I can identify with that. So you're going to know me. You're going to know me a few ways through storytelling. You're going to get a sense of my authenticity. And that's going to be up to you to decide. I can tell you as a composer of stories what you can do to try to bring that about. I can't control results. I gave up. I'm not in the results business, but I can take the best actions I can take. Okay. I'm going to tell you true stories. I'm going to tell you poignant stories. I'm not going to shock you with trauma stories that are, that I haven't even shared with my therapist yet. Do you know what I mean? I'm not just going to shock you with unprocessed first draft shock material. I'm going to take care of you. Okay, I'm going to let you know me through something that's been moderately, that's moderately risky to talk about for me. I like to take risks in my story. I like to risk sharing. I don't want to be in that. The reason I own a business is I don't want to be in a thing where any organization where I'm looking around guessing what I have to say in order to please a bunch of people. That is the most deadly position I've ever experienced. And I've been there before. I've been there guessing what to say. So you're going to know me if I'm authentic, but you're going to know me from the material that I've decided to curate. And you're going to know it by the feel you get from me. You're going to get a feel. You're going to get a feel because I'm not the hero of every vignette that I, share. I went through that phase of storytelling. I wanted to
Mhm.
tell how I came out on top, and then I did this and I did that. You'll see my intro video if anybody was here, for it, that's here now. Dion Flynn is not famous, but he hopes you think he is. Because I was showing my videos before I would talk. I've talked before thousands of people, right? Go into companies and do stuff with people. And I was like, wait a minute, why? Why am I showing this? Like, because people don't know me, but once they see, oh, he was in that, and I know that, I know a thing he's affiliated with. Oh, great. Yeah, maybe I did see him on the thing. And I realized that I really wanted people to think I was famous. And once I realized that, I was unconscious for a number of years.
Mhm.
And once I realized, oh, wow, I want people to think I'm famous. I want them to think I'm even more famous than I actually ever have been or anything I've ever achieved. Then I was like, just go name it. Go name that. You will make more friends. Because who doesn't want to be that? Who doesn't want to be at the top of the heap every once in a while? Who doesn't want a victory and a bunch of likes, on Instagram or whatever? So I'm going to blend these together. Know, like, trust. Because they're
Okay.
so knit up with each other.
Yeah. Let me just stop you for a sec. But yeah, no, definitely they knit up. But just I think one a couple of things that you do to help people know you is you want something unique to you. You don't want a story that's like the same old story that other people are telling. So it has to be somewhat personal to you. And I think whenever you're communicating, you want to keep it on like a sixth grader's level. So you don't want to it seems you don't want to talk over people's heads. I think that's something I've experienced. I don't know if that's something that you try and do when you're telling stories as well.
I need everybody to know that I'm smart. Okay. And I'm not contradicting what you're saying, but right away, you've now named another of my weaknesses, which is for some reason, I want everybody to know how smart and insightful I am. But I'm aware of it. Okay. I'm aware of it. So I tell on it. And the reason I tell the story of my character flaws is because I want people to start to get comfortable with sharing their character flaws. I
Mm.
really, I think that you become a more authentic person. So you say that, yeah, talk at a sixth grade level. I'm like, wow, that's a pretty good idea. You know, I think I do that more now
Mhm.
because I am interested in being an hospitable storyteller. I really want my guests, that's anybody who's giving me the kindness of their time to listen to a story. I want them to feel pulled in. I want them to feel included. I want the universality that I'm going for in the writing of it to come forward. And so maybe that is what's happened. I never thought of it really until you just said it that clearly. But yes, I do think that I don't strive as hard to show off my vocabulary as I used to,
Mhm.
because really in my heart, I genuinely want to connect with people more than I did before. I used to want to show off,
Okay. Yep.
and now I want to connect.
Okay.
Bring it back to know, like, and trust. I think that's part of that ineffable, very hard to quantify quality of authenticity. It's the quality of my thinking. People think, well, I'm just going to learn how to do this and then I'll tell it and I'll do it. Okay. You must attend to your interiority as well. People are very smart. I mean, I'm just like, if there's one it's just don't try to lie to people.
Mhm.
Don't try to lie to people, and get really honest with yourself first about who you are, about your strengths, your weaknesses, and the stories that pertain to those facts about your flawed humanity. It's just fun. As comedians, we know this. I was writing comedy for years, just joke after joke after joke after joke. It's part of what I do now. And when we're writing comedy, Andrew,
Mhm.
We're looking at what's hard, weird, scary, and stupid about life, about ourselves. That's what's funny. But first, you got to look at what's hard. What's the hardest thing about what's the hardest thing about running a Facebook Live? Well, we would list it, not sure who's going to come. Are the people engaged? Are they still here? Are they doing housework while they're, whatever it is, like that's the hard. And once you start getting down to what's hard, weird, scary, dumb about life, then you can start to talk to people in a way that they really relate to, I think.
Okay.
And
Nice.
and I hope they trust that. I have come to find that people come up to me after I've spoken, after I've told, given a talk, a series of stories or whatever. Woman came up just recently. She said, "You could help my business." She said, "You could help my business." And she, after the workshop, called me and we did it. It's already been done. This was like 3 months ago. It's already been done, delivered, and now I'm working with them. And I didn't sell them. I didn't sell them hard. I did what I love to do, which is teach people how to sort of get out of themselves and connect better, more authentically. And the sale came through these elements that you can control. I use that word very, very cautiously, control. But you can put a lot of energy towards becoming your best authentic self. And the way you can do that, let me pause for a second. I want to dialogue with you, Andrew. Look,
Okay.
I'm a speaker. I'll talk for 200 years, and everyone will be all cobwebbed, and
Well, it's okay because I'm a listener. So, but
excellent and perfect. Hey, well, you invited me on as a speaker, so why not? I should speak.
yeah. So, but definitely, those are key things. I don't know if you're a fan of Dale Carnegie.
Yes.
And really when you're thinking about networking and talking to people, that's like classic. And quite a few things I picked up from that. But anything stand out to you, as far as the networking side, what are some things that if you're going to tell a story or you're networking, from the networking side, what are some important things?
Well, I would say, well, what is networking? Networking is, putting myself around other people who might make use of the work I do, right? And I can't control what they're going to be drawn to. My work comes to me in so many different ways. Let me give you some specific examples. So I was with a very large car manufacturer in a meeting, and they were thinking of having me come in and do something. They weren't sure what. Maybe it would just be speaking, whatever. And as we were talking on the meeting, and I had my business associates there with me, and they had their people, and they were like, well, maybe, kind of. And I listened very carefully. So every good storyteller has to be a very good story listener. And you said you're a good listener, and I do experience you that way, Andrew. It is a tremendous gift. Listening to yourself. When am I bored? When am I engaged? When am I drawn towards someone and when am I repelled? That's my listening. That's information for me to put into, into my stories, into my networking. So we're on this meeting and they're saying, well, I'm not sure. Well, what else you got? What else you got? And I'm like, I got this we could do. And they're like, anything else? And then I said, what do you need? What are you hoping to get? Oh, us? Well, and I'm listening and I'm thinking and I'm letting my mind absorb this information. Now, because I have a mind that is now trained to tell a story, a gripping opening, a dramatic turnaround of some kind, and then some kind of result, I listened to what they were saying and I said, oh, well, what about this? It sounds like maybe this. And I told them the story of something we had done with another company that was also a big global company. And I said, we did this thing and then we did that. And this was the results. What do you think? And they were like, yes. So I was able to match a story in my bin, which related to what they needed. Okay. And I didn't list off bullet point things. I'd already done that. I already listed off all the bullet points of what I have done or could possibly do. And they wanted something else. So I listened carefully to their story spine, which was the story spine of their need. And I had a gem of experience that I could latch on. I told them exactly how it went, just like I said. So listening, I'm so glad you brought that up, is a very important part of networking, storytelling, so that you know which of your stories to curate.
Okay. Yeah. So it's important to have several. And, definitely you've got listening, but also, there's a special skill to what you had said, because you don't want to just go in and say, well, what do you need? You got to sort of get them to tell you without fully asking them, because then it'll seem like you already knew what they needed if you do it right. I don't know if there's some strategies you do around that. So I think that would be good, because a lot of people don't really, a lot of business owners don't have experience selling and marketing and networking, but being able to figure out what people need is key without turning them off. So what?
Right. Sure. Absolutely. What keeps you up at night is a good question. What keeps you up at night? Genuine care. See, I'm talking to you. I want to address what you said directly, and then I also want to. This just came up. A genuine care for the person you're talking to, a genuine desire to understand them. Many people don't even know who they are. And that's why maybe people that are just starting out, maybe you don't know a lot about what your stories are. What have you been through? You have stories. If you're here tonight, you have stories. And I'm not just talking about, look, I love to talk. You can hear me talk. I talk all the time. That's what I do. Okay. But I'm not talking about becoming a big blowhard who's just talking all the time. I'm talking about learning about yourself in a very granular way. Because if you know this one human being that you've been issued very well in terms of what motivates you, what you've gone through, who you are, what you value, and you catalog those things through self-knowledge, you know one human being very well, then you will come to know other human beings who are just the same as you are. They want things, they're afraid of things. And when you understand one human being, okay, I don't like people to waste my time. I want you to, I will set a boundary if the value is not there. Okay. Sometimes I will just say I have to go, or this isn't working out. Anyway, I got a little sidetracked.
Okay. No, definitely. So now we didn't quite get to the trust factor. So with storytelling, how can you get people to trust you? What are some ways that you can, you can't make them trust you, but you can encourage them to trust you, or use the story to make it more likely that they'll trust you?
I really, I watch my phrases. I watch, what am I doing? Am I trying to get someone to do something they shouldn't be doing? No. You can trust me because I show up on time. I tell the truth. And I tell the truth even when it's like not to my advantage, And then I leave it to you. What I experience personally, Andrew, from that is the cultivation of trust. People have the experience of authenticity from me, and it serves me very well because I'm not trying to tick off the boxes of what appears to be external trust from a person. I'm not. I'm being honest as I can be. I have blind spots. I say that. I'm a very flawed human being who's doing much better than he was 30 years ago. Um, and that's where I draw the line is I can't control the outcome. But what I know is that when I dabble in truth and courageous exploration of what's going on in here, it allows me to be in front of someone else and face them, look them in the eye and say, I have things that I can do, with your people. And I'd like to know if these things would be of value for your particular business. So let's talk about them a little bit. There's I call them my 3 S's that people have when they get nervous in a networking or sales conversation. Okay. The 3 S's, these are your approaches that you could have to this very nerve-wracking audition, or are you going to pick me, or is this going to move forward, right? The 3 orientations all begin with S, and one is screw you. And some people, and you have to get honest with yourself, some people walk around with a screw you attitude in their head, and it comes honestly. They've been hurt. They don't have faith. They don't have trust that things are going to work out. And they're like, I can't believe I got to go to this person and like try to make a sale, and the attitude, it comes through. It comes through in everything they do. No matter how much, no matter how much Axe body spray you put on it, people can still smell what's going on. The other one is save me. Oh, I hope that, maybe we can, if you just, it doesn't work. It's the internal orientation. And the 3rd S, which I think is the best S orientation to have, is shall we dance? I've got some music. You've got some dance steps. Let's look and see if these things fit together. And I use it as a self-diagnostic tool because trust me, there are people that if I was sitting before them right now, I'd go immediately into save me posture because it's just not my next logical sale. It's not my next logical step or growth movement. It's too big. And there are people that maybe would their politics or whatever they're doing with their business, I'd feel too resentful to be open. And so I have to continually ask myself, where am I at with this? Where am I at with this? When I did 6,500 hours of professional acting training just in grad school alone, I learned that acting was not about lying. Neither is good storytelling. It's about the stripping away of masks so that I can just reveal simply what it is I do. I'd like to do it with you. If you've got your client avatar and you know who you're going for, then you already know this is a person I would like to go towards. I like what they do. I like what they stand for. And then, I guess if there's an overall message I have, it's cultivate an inner alignment with yourself. And then you don't have to get anyone to trust you or make anyone trust you or fool them into it or any of those other games that many of us used to play. They just will or won't, but you're as closely aligned with the truth as you can be. And that's it. And what I find is I have clients that pay, that stay, that refer, and that return, because of this. It's a constant process. I'm a human being with lots of flaws, always trying to bring the purest facilitator, teacher, consultant that I can bring to the task. And that takes care of the know, like, and trust.
Okay. Excellent. So, no, I mean, I think definitely you hit on, quite a few key things. One of the things that they always say, especially as a small business owner, is you are your brand. So, you your level of professionalism and, helps with the trust. And, so, definitely, those are some key things. When you're networking, you're telling a story, do you expect to get a sale when it's done?
You know what they say, Andrew? Expectations are resentments under construction. You ever heard that one?
No,
Yeah.
no.
Well, the idea of like, do I expect to? Yes. Oh, I mean, I want to. I want to. I want to make a sale. But I really, I mean, I hope we're speaking on the same language here. Like, I could just be like sort of semantical things. I just, um, I used to say something back in the day. Back when I was running wild, I was out there partying, Andrew. I could tell you some stories. Okay. And I used to have a phrase that I would say, if there's a human ear between me and my way, I'll get it. I used to brag about this. It's a very shameful phrase and thought and mindset from my past
Mhm.
because I knew that I could cajole and push and manipulate or just never let up until I got that external surface yes, I guess that I because I just didn't want the rejection so badly. So now I'm in a place where I'm I function very differently. I want what is to come to me to be mine. I want to be aligned with it. I don't want to hold my breath at a job that I managed to get. I got the sale, and then I got to hold my breath and be not myself the whole time. That's what people experience when they go to a job they hate,
Mhm.
or they're with a client that they just can't stand. Now, look, I tolerate things. Nobody's perfect. I understand. I have tolerance. I know how to work with others. So, do I expect a sale? I I don't know how to answer that question.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great
Well,
question.
and
I don't know. I honestly don't feel like I'm in charge of it. I don't feel like I'm in charge of it. I put out this stuff. It's of a high quality. I know that sounds very self-aggrandizing. Let me tell you something about
my stuff is
what
great.
my stuff is great. Let me tell you that, everybody. No, no, no. I just mean like the results that I get when I work with groups of people, they love
Mhm.
and they come forward. It's not just me talking. People get involved, workshops, they do improv stuff. And by the way, you mentioned something earlier about you basically talked about one of the most important things that's involved in improvisation, which is something I teach to business professionals. And that is you were saying something that sounded very much like yes and, which we use. Yes, comma, and dot dot dot. And that's just this little phrase, a little equation of words, which is I acknowledge what you're saying. Whether I agree with it, whether I don't, I acknowledge what you're saying. I definitely, and I can find some piece of it to build with
Mhm.
and to work with and to say yes and then add something. Remember we were talking about the car company I was working with, and
Right.
then I was, you came back with that piece that was that pointed to yes and yes. It's a very important principle to find that which you can be in alignment with when you're talking to somebody, that which you can build with. So, to answer your question, I do not want to turn a difficult client who is not aligned into somebody that signs. I'm not interested. I am interested in attraction, the attraction of the right people. And I find it again and again, and the best people come out of the woodwork when I'm being my authentic self and delivering my highest, my highest quality work. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean? So, do I expect a sale? Sales happen. And I know that sounds elusive and it is rather zen, but that is what it is. Sales happen. And they
Right.
happen when I take care of the things I've been describing for the last hour.
Okay. No, I mean, definitely. And one thing that's key, um, you know, most times the first time you meet someone and first time someone hears about you, they're not going to buy from you. Either they may not remember you, they may not need what you have at that time. You know, so, and people, it's harder than ever to get people to buy something rather than them choosing what they want. So, you know, the story, you know, communication, it's really more about marketing and building that relationship.
Yeah, and I mean, think about it. We have such a great opportunity nowadays to put out there. I mean, everybody's got a camera that's better than any of the cameras that were shooting films, major Oscar-winning films 50 years ago. Everybody's got one. You know, we can put out the real story of our brand, our wit, our particular insight, as you said, and I agree with the very uniqueness of you. We can put that out there like never before. And lo and behold, when I do those things, I put out those little stories. And what I mean by stories, like, you know, little posts, little posts that bear my particular brand. Just funny little stories, you know, funny little stories here and there about, but they contain all of me. They seem like they're just one thing, but they're actually a little bit of something else. Because if you test it all the way down, it's all aligned. The things that I post, they're all me. They're all what I do. They're a story. They're funny. They have darkness. They have some sort of self-revelation. They are my brand, all of them. When I first introduced myself, I told it in the form of a story. So I used my basic branding tool to deliver to you and to be a part of this evening. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. I'm looking up, and you know, one of the things about this show is like an hour seems like it's a long time, but it's not a long time, you know, especially when you're talking about stuff like this. But I think we covered a whole bunch of really good points and key topics. So before we close out, I just want you to, you know, is there anything you want to wrap up? Sometimes people, you know, give 3 things that people should take away and can implement starting tomorrow within their business and within what they're doing. Either that or something to leave people with so that they have something to focus on based on what we discussed.
Yeah. Above the Oracle of Delphi is the phrase "Know thyself," and I think that there's a reason why that phrase and those old mythological tales, which come down to us now, thousands and thousands of years later, the reason that they stay is because there's truths in there. Know thyself. So people were on their way to go and see this oracle to tell me all about myself. I'm so scared. I don't know anything about myself. And before you go in, the last thing you see just before you go in is know yourself. Basically, if you know yourself, you won't have to come in here and ask me anything. So I would say know thyself. That's a big part of it.
All right.
And the second thing would be that journey is difficult, and it requires digging, and it requires work to piece together these little stories. Rather than blindly rushing and racing towards wherever you're going, ask yourself the question, what's motivating this? What drives me? Be curious in that. And the more you find out, every time you find a little a shovel full of gold inside there, you're going to see another shovel full of gold in your next sales prospect. So this person will no longer be an annoying block between you and the cash that you deserve, you know, an annoying no that's getting in the way of a yes that I need. The more I get what's going on in here, the more respect I have developed, I would say, for other human beings just in their beingness. And I know it sounds a little esoteric, but it's helped me. And wait, let me look at my things here. Yeah. And just get excited about story. Look at the story that happens the minute you get off here. What's the next thing that happens when you get off this meeting? Oh, I get up, go to the kitchen, and I get something to eat. Well, what drove that? I was thirsty. I was bored, whatever. Start to look at the story of your life and the stories around you and be curious about their structure and their purpose.
Okay. Excellent. So, no, definitely great. So know yourself, or you could also say in the Matrix, it's what, tenet nocere or something in Latin. So, it takes some work. It doesn't happen by itself. Someone told me once, I always borrow this, the only place where work comes before success is in the dictionary. So, sorry, success comes before work.
Right.
Is in the dictionary. So, there's always work for anything worthwhile, and get excited. It's contagious.
Yes.
People take their cues from you. If you're not excited about what you're doing, nobody else will be. So,
Agreed. And I love the kind of excitement which is an organic overflow of an aligned place rather than the sort of false caffeinated thing that has the clink of the counterfeit and everybody's sort of pushed off by. That's not, hype is not the same as, enthusiasm.
Mm-hmm. So cool. So I wish we had another hour, but it's evening. People need their evenings back. Also, I got to have some dinner. I don't know if you had dinner yet.
Well,
but,
I just have one last story. It's about 46 minutes long. I'm kidding.
Oh.
I'm kidding. It
Okay.
was great to be here with you, Andrew. Thank you so much for having me on.
Okay. No, thank you as well. Hold on for a second. Let me just close things out, and we'll be good. So yeah, once again, definitely want to thank everybody for joining in again this evening. We had some great comments, great questions, and look forward to continuing. But Dion was great. He shared some great stuff. The video recording still going to be up on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. So if you didn't catch the whole thing, or you want to share it with someone else, or you want to just dig in, because we did cover a lot of things in a short period of time, you're welcome to do that. So definitely welcome to do that. Also, each week we have a great guest, and so just to give you a preview for next week, we've got Steve Jones, and he's going to be talking about really using digital strategies to increase market share. So we're going to continue on the theme of marketing and sales next week, but we're going to focus more on the digital side. So looking forward to that. Been with Steve known Steve for many years, and he's done some great stuff in that space. So definitely looking forward to that. Scrolling around the bottom, you may see that we have the Join the Small Business Pro Network. Definitely we're in the process of launching our new Small Business Pro Network. So, if you join during the preliminary time, you can join for free. And, what is this Small Business Pro Network? It's really an opportunity to connect with other entrepreneurs, business owners, learn valuable stuff, grow, and get access to opportunities. So definitely you're welcome to do that. And, really at the end of the day, I always say that the more that you know, the faster your business will grow and the more successful you're going to be.
Thank you for listening to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University. empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpru.com.